Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. And guys, I know we were going to stay away and talk, not talk about, more of the popular films, and we're going to say more obscure. But, I just feel like there's just no way we can talk about horror films from the 80s, especially 1980, without mentioning this one. I just, no way around it, guys. And that is Sean S. Cunningham's absolute classic, Friday the 13th. Now, for me, one cool thing about bringing up Friday the 13th on the channel here today is the fact that we have February and March coming up. We have back to back months of Friday the 13th falling on a Friday. Not to mention, we have it all the way at the end of the year in November. Three Friday the 13th this year. That is absolutely insane. But talking about this film. Now, Cunningham has mentioned in the past there are films that came before that obviously, lent to some ideas and, he borrowed, from some earlier slashers. But I will say, now I love Halloween. Absolutely love Halloween. Love Michael Myers. But people who want to say that they're very similar in ways, but I think they're very different as well. As we get later on in the series, I think the characters just they're menacing in their own particular ways. But Cunningham took some things and made it his own and was able to. This film feels like this is a setting. This is setting the bar for all '80s slashers. It doesn't really feel like, even though it's coming in 1980, it doesn't feel like it's catching that tail end of the '70s. If you've seen '70s slashers, like Black Christmas, love Black Christmas, and Halloween again, it doesn't have that feel. It definitely feels like it's stepping into the '80s, and that I can appreciate. It definitely does not steal any aesthetics from the '70s, and it's setting that bar for what '80s slashers are going to be, and absolutely love that. Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees, guys. We're gonna get into some spoilers. If you haven't seen Friday the 13th at this point, I don't know what to tell you guys. I really don't. But Betsy Palmer as Mrs. Voorhees is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now, if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, obviously you probably think, okay, Jason's right from the beginning. No, no, no. No, guys. Nope. Mrs. Voorhees is the one who starts this whole thing. From start, right at the start, she starts this. Jason would pick up things later on in the franchise. So I think a lot of people get that confused. If you're new to horror, if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, you might think it's been Jason all the way from the beginning. No, guys, it hasn't. But Betsy Palmer was absolutely off the charts as Mrs. Voorhees. Able to play it very calm, but just like that, able to go insane. And I love. Who would ever think? I mean, Cunningham really, for me at least. I mean, again, we've had some crazy slashers, that came before it. They were kind of like, okay, this, what can we do to kind of trick the audience? Well, who would ever? I would have never thought it would be Mrs. Voorhees. Never thought it would be Mrs. Voorhees when I first saw this. Lo and behold, it was. But Betsy Palmer, like I said, it's just amazing to go from the Mrs. Voorhees character and then introduce Jason. It's perfect. The entire franchise, how it went from her to the introduction of Jason, is just perfection. Absolute total perfection. The way this film is shot, I love it. And of course, maybe because some of the things were shot in Jersey, and maybe I'm just partial because it is, I'm being, biased because it is New Jersey, and like the diner is like an hour away from me. So maybe, I'm a little bit being biased, towards the film when it comes to that. But, another thing that I love about, and this is going into the whole franchise as a whole, we have some characters that we do enjoy within the franchise. But I think when it comes right down to it, it's about, especially when we get into Jason, when Jason takes over, we get into this whole thing of, we're rooting for the guy. We're rooting for the big guy because the guy just seems to get bigger in every single film. We're always just like, everybody else seems to want to be in like a red shirt that are thrown into these films. Like, you wind up caring more about how he's going to wind up taking these people out than the actual other characters that are in the film. And like, and you almost it's almost the same exact way with when Mrs. Voorhees with the first film. But yeah, just her crazed look when you finally find out that it's her. It's just great. And I love the whole camp scene with these counselors and everything, trying to get the grounds ready for the campers to come in. And I think it's for a film shot on the budget that it was shot, it looks really good. It still holds up and looks beautiful. It really, really does. And I just love that setting. Like I said, some in the past I've said, I grew up around like the woods and everything like that, woods in the back of my house, stuff like that, always going into the there's just something about that I still love. Absolutely just I find it's chilling and just fascinating at the same time. And this film is great, absolutely great. I really wish I could have gotten like an autograph of Betsy Palmer. Yeah, I think that I would have loved to have had that at the time. Um, I think I might have missed out on an opportunity. I think she was at a convention one time when I was very, very young that she was at, and I did not get one. And I kind of kicked myself for that. But yeah, Friday the 13th, there's just no way around it. We're going to get back to the more obscure films. Definitely have a couple in mind for the rest of the week. But I just had to talk about Friday the 13th. You just can't talk 1980 without, you know, the beginning of one of the absolute classic horror franchises. So Friday the 13th, guys, from 1980 by Sean S. Cunningham. Guys, like, subscribe, and comment if you get the chance, and I'll catch you in another episode. Take care.